What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my Money in the Bank 2025 predictions. Yes, it is Money in the Bank time yet again because it's that sort of time of year, May, June sort of time, which is when we usually get Money in the Bank. Not next year though, it's in like September because of a weird WWE schedule these days. So yeah, gonna be a different sort of Money in the Bank calendar. I'm guessing it will still only last for a year no matter what, but obviously there'll then be a period where there is no chance of there being a Money in the Bank holder. So I would expect a longer reign, at least from either the women's or the men's side in the Money in the Bank briefcase, because there is a longer gap in between Money in the Banks. But I've got to say they've been disappointing in recent years. Obviously, Drew McIntyre's one, same night, dropped the briefcase straight away, sort of didn't elevate anything. I can't actually remember off the top of my head who won the women's one, which is quite bad. Liv Morgan, right? Liv Morgan? I genuinely can't remember. But yeah, we'll circle back to this. There's only 4 matches on this card. Usually I have to say about how excuse me, Triple H only does 5 matches, and I don't like him for that. Now he's only doing 4 matches because 2 of them are Money in the Banks. There's going to be a lot of adverts, commercials, whatever you want to call it, on this show. Triple H is said to be not a huge fan of the Money in the Bank briefcase, the Money in the Bank ladder match as a whole, which is obscene to me. It's one of my favourite matches, one of the best concepts I think they ever came up with. Not only the match, but also the stipulation behind the briefcase and all the stuff, and how you can use it anytime, any place, anywhere. That's the same thing within the year, which I do really like. But it's quite evident through Triple H's career. You know, he avoided the Money in the Bank ladder match. He was never cashed in on, and he was never in it. He never won the briefcase and all of that. But we'll get on to, or we won't talk about this. First up, we're going to talk about Logan Paul and John Cena versus Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, which is an interesting, sort of not interesting match. It's a tag match involving 2 world champions the day of Money in the Bank, which is when really we should see a cash in. If someone wins the men's Money in the Bank briefcase and then this match is later on in the night, there should absolutely be an attempted cash in, because if there isn't, it makes no sense at all. If there's ever an opportunity, it's when both world champions are in the ring, them being Jey Uso and John Cena. Now, I can only see this going one way. Cody Rhodes has just returned. Jey Uso is the world champion. They should win. I mean, Logan Paul's there, and Cena's past it. I know they don't really portray that on screen so much because, you know, he's a heel. He's a ruthless, dominant heel now. But yeah, they're not winning. I suspect Logan Paul eats the pin here. Maybe Cena doesn't break it up because he's so focused on Cody, and they just have their own thing going on throughout the match. Jey Uso pins Logan Paul. That's my prediction. That's what it should be. If this does main event, hope to God it doesn't main event. If it does, then there should be an attempted cash in here, but this could kick off the show. Alternatively, the men's Money in the Bank could main event, and this could be the co-main event of per se, because I'm assuming the show will be bookended by the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder match in whatever order. Assuming the men's would be the main event, would mean that this match falls somewhere in the middle, but you know, you never know. Cena's in it, Jey Uso's in it, Viral Moments man's in it, Cody Rhodes is in it. Could be a main event in the new TKO sort of structure. Here are some men involved in the Money in the Bank ladder match. We'll get onto that last, but just as a little segue, Rey Fénix and Chad Gable are taking part in the Worlds Collide event between AAA, NXT, and WWE. The same night is tomorrow night as well, a bit earlier. So Rey Fénix is in that North American title fatal 4-way with Javon Evans, Ethan Page, the champion, and Laredo Kid. He's not going to win it because he's in AAA, unfortunately. Rey Fénix, if he wasn't on SmackDown, would probably have a much bigger chance. I would suspect Ethan Page to retain because it's, you know, so quick into his run. But the fatal 4-way nature could mean that Javon Evans wins it, and no one would really have an issue with that. But I'd suspect that Ethan Page retains there and goes on to have another match with Ricky Saints. Chad Gable, there's no chance he's beaten Vikingo at all. There are other matches on the card. I think Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice are in a tag team match. They'll probably win that. Dragon Lee's fighting. Legado del Fantasma fighting. There's a couple tag matches and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll leave Chad Gable in here because I need someone to represent El Grande Americano in the men's Money in the Bank match. But yeah, that is Worlds Collide. I might watch that. I might watch the highlights and stuff. I don't know. But not too much riding on that. I just don't see... Yeah, the main event is Vikingo vs Chad Gable, but there's no chance in hell he wins that. He's not even... Well, I'm not going to say he's not even wrestling as El Grande Americano because there's no proof that they are the same person. Yes, Chad Gable lent him his boots, but that's all it is to it. Up next, we got 2 women's matches because this is quite an even card. There's 2 men's matches, 2 women's matches. And the women's side, probably better in this one. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. Very, very good match at Backlash. Really enjoyed that. I thought that was one of the best women's matches I've seen ever, maybe. I really like Rhea versus Charlotte from WrestleMania 39, but Lyra Becky was very, very good. Obviously, they have a lot of chemistry together, and they fought twice now, Backlash and back in NXT for the women's title. Down in NXT, Lyra Valkyria coming out on top on both occasions. This time, is she going to get the third? I don't think so. I think Becky Lynch will beat her this time, partly due to the stipulation of Lyra cannot... Oh no, not Lyra. Becky cannot challenge for the title again. Can't challenge Lyra for the title again if she loses here, which I think sort of puts the writing on the wall. I think Lyra is very, very good and she'll go on to bigger and better things, but this will probably be the time they try to elevate the Intercontinental title on the women's side, which has been dealt with a lot better than the United States Championship has, unfortunately. That there's not much over on SmackDown. Hopefully the new additions like Julia will breathe some life into that, but she is of course in the Money in the Bank match. That's quite a split one as well, because you got Julia, you got Stephanie Vaquer, you have Roxanne Perez, 3 new call-ups who have been in NXT as of late, and then you have Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss and Naomi, established main roster stars. Rhea and Alexa's on SmackDown, right? Rhea on Raw, Roxanne's also on Raw, and Stephanie is on SmackDown, right? So Stephanie, Julia, and Naomi, and Alexa are actually on SmackDown. I can't remember. The rosters are all confusing. That's what I've found with making my PIC-FED rosters as well. Can't remember what guys go in what bins and stuff like that, but... Yeah, the 3 call-ups I don't think have much of a chance, unfortunately. I would love any of those 3 to win it. Roxanne, I think that it probably earliest for her, well, earliest for Stephanie, or if she just came up. If one was going to win it, I'd put my money on Julia out of the 3 of them, but I don't see her winning it either. Alexa Bliss, she could slot straight back into the main event scene, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. That would be quite a nice way to segue her into it, but I don't see that happening, and apparently that's not the plan in WWE. There's 2 names being floated around for both of the ladder matches. Apparently Rhea Ripley and Naomi are the ones on the women's side. Rhea Ripley I do not want to see in the world title scene, to be honest. I think it'd be much better if she dropped down to the mid-card title, or just did some non-title feuds for a little while, or took a little break, because she needs to not become another Charlotte and only be relevant when she's fighting for a title. That is a problem that, you know, you don't want to have. You don't want to just be chasing a title or holding a title. And it depends, because it can be done very well. Like Gunther has been a champion for an insane amount of time, like an insane percentage of his WWE run, but no one looks at him as just a champion. You know, he's not, he's always in the title scene. No, he's a fantastic wrestler. He's a very good champion. Rhea Ripley sort of doesn't feel like that as much. I think her title reigns have sort of taken away from how fleshed out her character was, and I think she's suffering a little bit from that. And that is why, that's not really why, I don't think she should win it. And I think Naomi should. I think realistically, this is her last chance, sort of, at the world title. She said in an interview a while ago about wanting kids and how that sort of leads to her potentially having to retire sooner rather than later for that to become a possibility. And, you know, you sort of expect this to be her final run. She's put Jade over at WrestleMania, and I think this new heel gimmick, it needs, or heel persona, heel character of Naomi needs a win. She should have beat Jade at WrestleMania, I think, although obviously the writing was on the wall that Jade was gonna win. I think she should have beat Jade. It would have been more impactful if she beat Jade, and she has got some over on Jade and stuff like that, but I definitely think that she wins it. I do think she wins it, and I think she should win it. She could go on and tired. It's like 11:30. It's not even that late, is it? But yeah, she can go on and challenge Tiffany. Obviously, Tiffany's a face. She's a heel. It works quite nicely there. You can have a feud with Jade. You can have a feud with Bianca. Although Bianca's sort of taken a step away from the title scene as well, and I think that's good. Albeit Bianca's been away from the world title for quite a while now, you know, since like, when was it? SummerSlam 23? Or is it really that long ago? You know, she's been in the tag division for a long time, and I think that's been very good for her. And I actually prefer her now, and the character work she's been doing with Naomi, that's some serious stuff. And she's obviously a great wrestler, which does help. I just feel like out of the two of them, Rhea and Bianca, well, she was involved with WrestleMania, but she never got that win and stuff like that. But you expect them, they're on like a very similar level, but I feel like Bianca Belair is just a bit higher for me than Rhea Ripley is, because of that sort of versatility I think she has. And Naomi winning the briefcase can definitely play into that. Now, that was quite a lot of rambling about that. But yeah, let's get on to the men's Money in the Bank match. So it is not Chad Gable, El Grande Americano, Penta, Seth Rollins, Andrade, LA Knight, and Solo Sikoa. Unfortunately, let's just eliminate Andrade. I'm sorry, bud, but you're there to make up the numbers. I'm glad he's there, though, because he was really good in last year's Money in the Bank, if I'm remembering correctly. I thought he was the best, the biggest star, not biggest star, he was the MVP of the match. So I'm glad to see him back, and I'm glad to see that Charlotte hasn't completely buried him in their divorce. But yeah, I don't see him doing much. Penta, I do think it is too early, and I think he'll probably continue to, you know, set his sights for the IC title instead. El Grande Americano, I would like to see him win the briefcase. I don't see it as a likely possibility, though. I just wish he was Chad Gable, you know, taking the jokiness out of it. I just really wish he was Chad Gable and he was a serious star. You know, now he's getting pushed because he's doing a sort of casually racist gimmick. It sort of annoys me, but then you have Solo and LA Knight. Now, the two names being thrown around apparently seriously in WWE are Seth Rollins and Solo Sikoa. When I saw that earlier, that really surprised me. I don't think Solo Sikoa is going to win this. I don't think that's a real sort of thing. Although it would be very interesting, maybe. You know, how would that go down in the bloodline? How would that go down with Jacob Fatu? How would that go down with JC Mateo? Stupid name. I did think about Jimmy Uso and how he's been trying to persuade him to come back into the bloodline and the fold and all that stuff, and how Jimmy could help him out in the match, but then that's just Jimmy turning heel, and, you know, you're going backwards there. And Solo and LA Knight have a feud going on and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think they'll carry on and they'll fight throughout the match, which leaves Seth freaking Rollins. Obviously, the Money in the Bank briefcase, the Money in the Bank match, ladder match, there's no real rules to it, you know, other than you got to unclip the briefcase to win, which does leave a lot of room for Big Bronson Reed and for Bron Breakker to interfere to get Seth Rollins his briefcase, or to assist him in the briefcase winning. And Seth Rollins goes on to beat Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight title, whether that be, you know, during the tag match or after the tag match or whatever. Seen some people saying, like, he's gonna, God knows what. I saw some crazy fantasy booking theory that Rollins wins the briefcase and goes on to have like another heist of the century at WrestleMania. I don't think he'll hold it for that long, but I think he definitely, I do think he wins it here. I don't think there's another option as credible as him. But yeah, I think he is a very good Money in the Bank holder. There's, as I've said quite a lot throughout on the channel, I think there's guys that just fit being a Money in the Bank briefcase holder, and he is one of them. He did back in, wow, like 10 years ago now, and I think he will now. I really like Seth Rollins as a heel, and it'll be interesting to see how this stable sort of moves on. And yeah, that's everything from me for today. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and turn your post notifications on to be updated on all of my uploads on anything, basically. My reaction video will be out on Sunday night probably, so stay tuned for that. And I hope you enjoy Money in the Bank, Worlds Collide if you watch it, and everything in between. Thank you guys. Oh, also, SmackDown's on tonight. There might be new matches coming out because of that. I haven't covered them. I'm not suspecting another match, but who knows? There could be another one added. Something could happen at Worlds Collide that gets added onto Money in the Bank. Probably not going to happen. But there is a chance that something gets added on after the events of tonight. But I won't be covering them, unfortunately. If it does, I'll cover them in the comments, though, I suppose. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy Money in the Bank.